Let's go. Set it up.
Top of the show.
Form, check form. Cover down.
Do it again.
Run it back.
And we'll see you at the show.
Hello and welcome, everybody. This is On a Water Break, and this is a podcast about everything in the marching arts. You name it, we've probably already planned to talk about it. And maybe by now you've realized that I am not Jackie Brown. Yes, it is Jeremy, the producer of On a Water Break, and we have given the hosts a week off so that they can be with their friends and family on this lovely holiday season. And my lovely assistant producer for the show, an amazing consignment manager for Guard Closet, Christine, is joining me to do a 2022 recap with all of our hosts. So, yay, Christine. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Well, yeah, it's great to see you here on the screen, of course. Of course, we're on a screen right now, but everybody will be listening to us later. But yeah, that's right. We gave the panel the week off, so to speak. Everybody deserves a little time off. So since we are usually the folks that are behind the scenes, we are stepping in to kind of take us into that wrap up of 2022 that we're going to do right now and get everybody geared up for what we have to offer coming up then in 2023.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Very, very exciting stuff that we decided to, we should talk about how this is the time to talk about and tell the folks like how the podcast sort of generated, with us, because, it sort of came out of both of us, and Christine has not been on with her voice at all, but her voice is very clear in our podcast. Her voice shoots through everything because she's the one putting it all together. She is the one doing our script writing. She comes up with some of the games. She's doing our research on the news. She is everything. So how has it been for you taking on this endeavor and sort of recapping even the podcast episodes the first little bit?
Oh, well, sure. It's really been a lot of fun. And I think one thing that's really great about what we've accomplished with the podcast is the really great, group of panelists that we've brought in and our guests. Absolutely. And all kinds of stuff. We've really had a chance to talk to some fascinating people, some folks that I never had met before or had encountered in any way. Yeah. And I think that's one of the best things. All of us in the marching arts are well aware that everything is very connected.
Yes.
If you don't know somebody else that knows them, I guess.
It's not even 6 degrees. It's not even 6 degrees. You're at maybe 3 at most.
Absolutely. And no matter what your level of involvement is or what your level of involvement used to be or what genre you're mostly involved in, everybody knows somebody and is connected somehow. And I think that's really exciting. So, the panelists that we've brought together is a combination of some folks that, well, here we go. I've known Chris Rutt for almost 30 years. Yeah. Chris Rutt and I used to sit 2 chairs down from each other in youth symphony.
No way.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I did not know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, Chris and I played in a youth symphony together. And, even back then when we were in high school, we were talking marching arts with each other, and stuff. And so, that's a cool connection. But then, things branch out from there and, you get to know new folks and, they say, oh, hey, yeah, I know this person. And, oh, yeah, I remember them. And I've heard that happen on the podcast along the way.
Oh, it's keeps happening and keeps happening and keeps happening. It's totally amazing. Well, since we're mentioning Chris Rutt, let's go to Chris Rutt's 2022 recap.
Happy holidays, everyone. This is Christopher Rutt. And just wanted to take a moment and talk about some of the things that I really loved this past year in the world of the pageantry arts. We'll start with WGI first. I want to give a huge shout out to Avon High School for winning the first ever Triple Crown at the WGI World Championships, taking home the gold in color guard, drumline and the wins. What an incredible achievement for a storied program. I wish you all the very best as you start to put together your programs for this year. Cannot wait to see what you guys have in store. Moving on over to Drum Corps International. Huge shout out, first of all, to the Blue Coats Alumni Corps. What a profound performance. You guys were amazing to listen to watch, to see some friends of mine in the actual ensemble performing. It really made my heart happy. So congratulations to the Blue Coats alumni. Also, congratulations to the Blue Coats Drum Bugle Corps for taking home the Fred Sanford Award for percussion. What an amazing achievement and well-deserved. Another shout out to my alumni corps, my corps, the cadets, for coming back, roaring back into finals this year in one spectacular fashion. The future looks very bright for the cadets, and I cannot wait to see where you guys go. In the scholastic marching world, gotta give it up to Tarpon Springs and to Vandergrift and all the amazing programs this year in Texas and in Florida, and to Carmel High School winning the BOA Grand National Championship. I think what's most amazing to me is that even though we are still dealing with the remnants of that horrible virus, that these students have persevered and pushed through, and the creative teams have devised these amazing programs, and these groups are back better than ever. I am so excited to see what happens in 2023. And I want to thank everyone at On a Water Break for having the opportunity to include me into their podcast. It has been a ton of fun. I hope you guys have been enjoying it, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. I hope it is festive and warm and bright and all the wonderful things that it is. So have a wonderful holiday. Have a happy new year, and we'll see you in 2023. Cheers.
Chris he just knows so much, and he pays attention to so many things, and he absorbs so many of the things that are going on, and he's so knowledgeable about so many things that are going on in such a positive way,
in a hugely positive way. All of his approach is that, and I really think that that's like sits at the heart of the show, in a sense, of the podcast, is like heart, and all the heart that all of the hosts bring to it, and just the gravitas of all of these hosts and all these people that are participating, and their their resume that they bring to this is so expansive. I mean, this is like his world, just like it's most of our worlds, music and arts literally is who he works for, and so like it's just amazing. I love that he starts off with like one of the biggest news stories that we had, and we were going to talk about, was the Triple Crown win of Avon. So that was really amazing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah. And I just, a lot of times when I think about programs like that, I think a lot of people, unfortunately, sometimes get caught up in people who are music educators down in the trenches. I'm a music educator down in the trenches. I teach elementary kids. I teach kids how to put the instruments together, and which end to blow into.
Doing the good work.
Right? But what I'm saying is that sometimes when we see these programs that are just at the pinnacle and are the trendsetters, and sometimes folks kind of take it kind of the opposite way a little bit, and they kind of get caught up in, we'll never be able to do that. We'll never be able to do that. But you know what? You can't do that. You've got to allow them to push you and to give you the energy and to validate also what you are doing. And I think that's important for a lot of people to remember, no matter where they are as educators, whether they're teaching, a world-class top, winning all the time group, or if they're just building a brand new program from scratch. It's those programs that can inspire us and help us to know that it can happen.
And they're not any different than any other normal kids. And the staff aren't any different than any other staff out there. I mean, that staff is pretty amazing. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, Susie, who's on staff at Avon, she did a parenting podcast that'll be coming out very soon from us. And she's amazing. I mean, I know I marched with Susie very briefly, but like, they are amazing people and they are amazing staff, but they're amazing humans, I guess is the way to say it. And that's what it is.
And there are just basic fundamental things that they do with their students that anybody can do with their students.
Right.
And it can happen at any level, and anybody can be successful in their own realm, in their own bubble, And I think that's, their success means different things for different groups too.
Yeah. And speaking of success meaning different things for different groups, some people don't compete at all. Right. So like that is not, that is not something that, that their bands do, or their parade bands, or their, whatever. One of our hosts, Beth, has never been in competitive band, drum corps, color guard, percussion, anything like that. She went to school, for music. I'm 90% sure she went to school for music and has her degree, but was a woodwind player and was a drum major, and was just that wasn't her vibe. But she still works with bands all across the United States doing travel. And so having her on the panel brings another voice into what's going on. Because half the time she's like, I don't know what this WGI, DCI stuff is. So you're educating the heck out of me.
But she's bringing great perspectives that exactly. Not everybody has. And I think that's what's really important about, the marching arts overall, is that there are so many different aspects of it. Yeah. And it's not about the top 12 all the time. And it's not about, who's winning WGI and stuff. It's about everything. Yeah. All across the board. And I think that's what's really been great with the topics that we presented and what our panelists are bringing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's take a listen to Beth's 2022 recap, Gush and Go. Here you go, Beth.
Hey, everyone. This is Beth. And my Gush and Go for 2022. Gosh, what a year. So I started the year at the Tournament of Roses Parade with one of my high school groups. Actually, it was even my alma mater. And I can't tell you how proud I was to be part of that experience for them and to see all of their hard work come to fruition as they walked down Colorado Boulevard. It was really, truly extraordinary. And to be part of that tradition is something I will never forget. The year was fantastic for those types of experiences with the groups that I get to plan trips for and with, and, taking me through the spring. And then over the summer, working with some fantastic clinicians and students during summer marching band workshops at Westchester University in Pennsylvania. Summer camp is what we all remember, growing up and being part of the activity and all the sweat and water breaks and just everything that goes with being in band, and the idea that you're putting together a show that's going to build and change and grow through the fall season. I love being part of that with students as an adult. And it just always reminds me of what I got to experience as a youth in the activity. And now here I am wrapping up the year of 2022 at the Midwest Conference in Chicago. And it's like the Super Bowl, of marching activity, seeing all of the amazing talents that are here, that are all dedicated to band and furthering students' positive experiences through music and marching arts. I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud to tell people that that's what I do for my job, that I get to plan trips for bands all around the country. It's something that I take very seriously, and I'm very proud to be part of. And being part of this podcast is also just something I'm deeply excited about and proud of. So I wish for 2023 that everybody gets to experience a big activity or something that they've always wanted to do, whether it's a parade they've always wanted to march in, or a competition they've always wanted to participate in, or getting to nationals at BOA, or whatever the goal is for your group. My wish for all of you is to have that experience of excitement and wonder and the commitment to an activity that brings so much more than just dots on a page and can actually build a true fulfilling life experience for students that will carry them well into their adulthood. Much peace and love to everybody involved in the activity and part of this podcast, and cheers to 2023.
On a Water Break is teaming up with Style Plus, Guard Closet, and Marching Arts Education to do some great giveaways this winter. The first is 2 $500 scholarships to 2 performers in an independent percussion, winds, or color guard competing in WGI this winter. That's right, 1 for a guard person and 1 for a winds or percussion individual. If that's not amazing enough, we will also be awarding to 2 groups a set of 20 Style Plus performance tops or a set of 20 unitards. 1 set of unitards for the winning color guard and 1 set of performance tops to a winds or percussion group. Check out more information about this opportunity on our website at onawaterbreak.com. Everyone that registers will receive a free month of service from Marching Arts Education and all their amazing educational offerings. The winners will also be invited to be panelists on our podcast throughout the winter season. You'll tell us about your experiences as a performer and your insights into what's happening in the marching arts. Again, check out our website at onawaterbreak.com for information about applying for these opportunities.
So I really like how Beth has such a perspective of, what it really can mean to participate in the marching activity. What I say, and kind of to elaborate on that a little bit, what I mean by that is that it's not just about the show that goes on the field, or it's not just about the song that gets played going down the street. I mean, Beth is creating memories for people.
Long memories.
Right, in so many ways. I mean, some of the fondest memories that I have of my time in the marching ensembles I was in, and the trips that I went on, and the places we got to go, and the things that happened on those trips, like good and bad. I mean...
Yeah, you remember the trips way better than like what place you got in. Like, I mean, how long has it been since you competed? I don't remember. I don't
honestly,
know, like,
and I had to be very honest. None of the ensembles that I've ever performed in competed.
Right.
My high school was non-competitive.
Right.
Penn State is definitely not competitive.
Right.
And I played in an alumni corps. Not competitive. So I have never actually competed. I've taught competitive ensemble.
Right.
But I have not competed as a performer. So for me, and that's what we were talking about earlier, not everybody has to compete. So for me, the significant memories were not in trophies and placements and things like that. The significant memories for me were the connections and the friends I made, the people that I'm still friends with now, the places that I got to go. Right. You know, in this time between Christmas and New Year's when all the bowl games are happening, that's really exciting for me to reflect on the bowl games that I got to go to.
Right. Trips.
And all the wonderful times that we had on those trips. And that's what's great that Beth is reflecting on that, because she is that person that behind the scenes has helped make that happen for those people.
So many careers in the marching arts that can be found outside of teaching and even being in front of the students. I mean, she loves being in front of the students, just as much, but she's like, this is how I can contribute without like sometimes pulling my hair out.
And allowing the directors to, do what they need to do to get the kids prepared, allowing the parents to just be the parents and support, the trip. But, doing all that behind the scenes that could not be handled otherwise, because people simply do not have the time or resources. So that's wonderful,
Yeah, she mentioned Downingtown High School, which is her alma mater, and is the one that went to the Rose Bowl parade. And they're a very interesting band because they're Downingtown East and Downingtown West in geographic terms.
They went a combined effort, so to speak.
Yeah. And so when they go to big parades, they combine as a marching band, and they go from, 150 each or whatever, 100 each or whatever, to like 250, 300 total. They call it a blue and gold band. They make this whole thing to put it all together. And I would certainly say to anybody out there that's in a small band, like combine with your county, combine with the high school bands in your county and become the XYZ county marching band and apply to go to these parades. Just because you're small, don't think that you can't do that. The other thing that just to mention before we move on to our next host is that while Beth was at Midwest, of course, in her amazing fashion, she did a recap episode of Midwest. So we have several interviews of people that she got to talk to. One of them was Joshua Hecht, who runs the Drum Major Leadership Academy. So that like both of those things like clicked all together because she was talking about leadership. That I was like, I have to say that, but just be on the lookout for her Midwest recap with some great interviews from different vendors and stuff like that was at Midwest. She's going to have somebody come on and like talk about their experiences at Midwest. So if you've never been, this might be something to listen to kind of get like some behind the scenes of kind of what it's like. But to move right along, let's bring in our next host, and it's the lovely Nicole, who just joined us late. I wanted to ask her, but I figured she was too busy initially, so then she came on to be interviewed, and then she's like, can I do this all the time? I'm free. Can I do this all the time? And we were like, of course. Yes, Nicole, please. So we're very happy to have Nicole. And
she's been a great addition to the group. Absolutely.
Totally like a heart. She's another like heart. Like that everybody is. I keep saying that, but like everybody is. Okay, take it away, Nicole.
My Gush and Go 2022 wrap up is more about marching bands and winter guards and indoor drum lines for high schools and scholastic groups. I just want to basically just shine light on how resilient those directors are, those techs are, and also their designers, and not to mention the performers. There's so many firsts in groups that have been longstanding coming to, WGI, BOA, all those big groups and big things, and how, the majority of their groups where this was my first time here. And so setting that precedence of, this is what we do. This is what we do this for is great. And I loved seeing it. And it was just heartwarming, not to mention awe-inspiring, to see what those kids could do. The musicians, great musicians, the winds group, great winds group. So my big gush and go, I guess, to say for 2022 is if you're teaching a scholastic group, keep doing what you're doing, because you are definitely shaping minds and inspiring people. And what I'm looking forward to in 2023 is, of course, the cookout. Great event celebrating people of color in the color guard community and their accomplishments. WGI finals. That's going to be great. I can't wait to see all of these creative minds and talented performers and just, soak in all that great performance for marching band and DCI in the summer to see what the next envelope that can be created, because I know that it would be. And then for marching band, going to BOA and just being around and in that community again, full time. Best of luck to everyone. Happy New Year to everyone and happy holidays.
Nicole has got some really great, reflections, because I think, so many of us have been reflecting on, what was it like during the pandemic and what's it like now? And think about during the pandemic, how, everybody was constantly kind of saying over and over, when are we going to get back to normal? When are we going to get back to normal? When? And,
Normal's
really
gone.
What's that?
Normal's gone.
Normal's not right. I know. But, the thing is that, yeah, we are, back to quote normal, if you want to call it that. But it's like, it's a new normal, because everybody uses that term.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, it's a better normal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I think that's that's kind of actually a big story to come out of the pandemic, and even I think into 2022, because it's like sort of the first full seasons for everybody since the pandemic, right? And what I think we got to see as a whole, and Nicole really is talking about this, is the performers and how excellent they got over the pandemic, because the new normal. And now choreographers can send stuff on video, and it's instant, and they can learn it, and music can be done on video. And like there were programs that were being developed like during the pandemic that allowed all of this creativity to still flourish together. And so now we come out of the pandemic and that technology is there, and you can still use it, you know, and it can still be a part of how you maintain your collective selves.
It's definitely a silver lining, and it has turned students and young people into different types of learners.
Right.
And it's enabled them more as learners. I mean, I love how you brought that up about, you know, how technology is allowing us to share things so much more and prepare things in different ways. And, you know, give kids the advantage of having this something to reference as they're practicing or whatever, and allow them to be engaged in different ways. And definitely, I would agree with that. I mean, there's a silver lining. There's a new normal. There is coming back to doing some things the way we used to, but it also gave some people some time to reflect and maybe realize, well, maybe the way we always did it isn't necessarily the best. So,
and that's okay. And that's okay. What you had to have learned over this time is it's okay to change path. It's okay to, I mean, how many things with us at Guard Closet like started and stopped in a matter of a couple months during the pandemic just because everyone's like, I don't know, you know? So like, you know, I mean, that's just sort of what it was. And now like everybody was doing that marching band wise, everybody was doing that, you know, drum corps, indoor parades, like everything sort of changed into this virtual thing. But now it kind of, you watch these things and it is now sort of all incorporated in together. Some people are doing it amazingly, some people not so much, but that's, you know,
it forced people to learn to become much more flexible than they had ever been in their lives ever before.
Flexibility is key.
Yes.
I don't know how flexible he is. He's a percussionist. I was going to use it as a transition, but I don't know how flexible Tom is. I know he's an avid disc golfer. But thrilled to have Tom as a part of the panel. His percussion knowledge is just beyond. It's just reference after reference after reference that he, you know, pulls and makes. And you're just like, you know, like, what?
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty used to that, but you know,
you got one right now. Yeah,
I'm not going to name names, but I'm pretty used to that. So Tom's like, oh yeah, I get it. You know?
Yeah. All right, well, Tom, take it away for your recap.
Hey, Tom Shearer here with my 2022 year in review. Let's go. Let's talk about DCI first. Back in full force with full competition this past summer. Blue Coats were off the chart. Cadets brought back some creative ideas from the past with the NYC show. Loved it. And let's talk about Boston Crusaders and that insane battery and pit. Let's go. 2023 is going to be hot for those guys. BOA was incredible this year. Bands of America. So much color. So much going on with those groups. It's just impressive and just amazing what those Scholastic kids are doing. Moving on. WGI. That's just getting bigger and better every year. The limits are not even being pushed anymore. They're just setting new groundwork for ideas and concepts, and it's just so exciting. Lots of fun, lots of energy, and just a wonderful place. If you can ever get to WGI, I suggest going at least once in your life. 2022 was a great year to be back. It was wonderful seeing everyone and all the faces again. Thank you to everyone and anyone involved with the marching arts, from the education staff to the performers to the parents. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And finally, I'd like to shout out to Pearl Percussion. for their support and contributions to the activity and continued support in 2023. Thank you. And Innovative Percussion, Drumsticks and Mallets, again, thank you for your continued support and everything you do for the activities. And let's go, 2023. That's a tough one to say. 2023. There we go.
One of the things that really stood out to me with Tom is how, and I'm going to kind of like combine two of the things he was talking about, which is kind of neat. But he's talking about, like setting new standards and setting new goals and everything like that. And I'm going to tell you, like, I've said this ever since, that happened in August. The Blue Coats alumni have set a new precedent. A new bar. Okay. As to what is expected of an alumni corps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good luck, Crossman. Good luck.
Yeah.
I hope you win. Good luck. Hope you win.
Now that's interesting though, because I had the opportunity to talk one-on-one with one of the staff and one of the driving force behind the scenes of Blue Coats alumni.
Of course. Yes, of course you would.
Yeah, there's a couple of folks that I know.
Yeah.
One very, very special person to me, especially. I should say him, like, specifically, Dave Rohr, who was my student teaching cooperating teacher, and I taught marching band with him for many years, and performed in West Shoreman alumni under his direction for many years as well.
Yeah.
But he had the opportunity to go back and, be on staff for Blue Coats alumni. I know that it meant the world to him to be able to do it. And many of us, in Pennsylvania who know many people from the Blue Coats from many years, if we were not in Indianapolis, we were cheering wildly on our television screens.
That is an interesting thing that you actually bring up Blue Coats, like Pennsylvania connection, because it is really strong. It is strong. It's really crazy. It's really strong.
Right. And it comes from a time when a lot of corps participation was a bit more localized than it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, there was always people traveling, distances and things like that, but it was a bit more localized than it was now.
Sure.
I'm really impressed by this current generation of kids, how they will just hop on a plane and
done.
And I know, like, again, I know it happened in the past, but it just seems like it's more prevalent. But back to what I was saying too about, Blue Coats alumni, they have raised the bar and they have set the new standard.
Yeah. I mean, it was amazing. I wasn't an alumni. I never even marched drum corps. Like, that was just not my gig. And like watching it, I was like, oh my God, this is like, I'm like, tearing up and stuff. Now I have students that I taught, people that I marched with that were there, and I was like following their journey and like, here we are. And oh my gosh. And here's so all of that, shout out Katie and Joe Henderson. Like just phenomenal, but like that a level of emotion, I could not imagine being on that field. Like, I think that's what I was doing, is I was like taking in what they were probably taking in that moment. Do you know what I mean? Like that, like, we're there living through them vicariously, going, oh my God, that emotion must be insane.
They were celebrities. And really, I mean, in some ways, they stole the whole show.
Oh gosh, there was like nothing else happened at DCI. No one's talking about anything else about DCI this past year other than Blue Coats alumni. Like, what did anybody else's show? I have no idea.
I mean, BD could have showed up with like pyrotechnics or something, and it still would have been.
Not even close. Not even close.
So it was very exciting. And, to see what they accomplished. And I mean, that is no easy feat.
No.
And I know that the folks who committed to doing that sacrificed a lot. The travel that they had to.
There was a lot involved. Yeah.
Correct. And there was a lot of travel involved, a lot of rehearsal time involved. These people have full-time jobs. They have kids. They have families.
At the peak of band season, like and most of them are band directors or teaching color guards or teaching percussion, or like, okay, bye, take care of yourselves for a couple of days. Like, good luck.
They saw it as a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I'm just so excited for them to do that. And I mean, I have to admit, in some ways, knowing the folks, that took that opportunity and talking to some people, it inspired me to finally get off my butt and take an opportunity that I had to do an alumni gig that I had not yet done after, 20 some years. And it's like in my, I just marched a parade. Okay. But,
Sometimes that's more than marching a show anyway. I mean, committing to a parade could be like a 5-mile walk.
But I took that inspiration from them. And I'm like, you know what? I have this opportunity. Why am I not taking advantage of this opportunity? It's so easy. And it was barely any time commitment. I mean, I showed up and 3 hours later I was done, and I drove 2 hours to do it. But, seeing them out there, and I'm like, you know what? And that goes for anybody. When you have these opportunities and you have these chances to reconnect with people or reconnect with your organization in some way, you've got to do it. Don't let other things get in your way.
Well, speaking of being inspirational and all of those things, we have probably one of the most inspirational people I have ever met in terms of the band world, or at least her emotion towards the participants and that is Cindy Barry, Leander Mama, who just cannot be, again, the heart of the show, she just is amazing. And every time she sends in her mama minutes, I get to hear them first. And I'm like, oh my, everybody just wait until you hear what Cindy has to say this week. It's
Grab
great.
your tissues, right?
Yeah.
Grab your tissues. Yeah, and I agree. Every time I listen to Cindy too, I'm like either cheering in the car or like on the verge of tears or something, because and again, it's kind of like what we were talking about before. She brings the different perspective, and she brings, different experiences and just a different outlook that is still part of this whole experience.
It's a big part of the experience. And those people we want this podcast to be for those people too. They should be able to listen to this and get that same feeling, understand their kids better. So let's let Cindy Barry, Leander Mama, inspire us one more time for 2022. Take it away, Cindy Barry.
Hello again, everyone. Leander Mama here with your last Mama Minute of 2022. And just a brief wrap up of the year. And I just wanted to talk about the great band flu of 22. Strange subject, I know, but I felt like it was a huge factor this fall in Texas especially. And I just have to say, I am constantly amazed at the ability of these marching band kids to just get out there and perform and do their best no matter what they're facing. I know so many of the bands had kids that were just really sick at the end of the season during BOA San Antonio and during the 6A state marching championships. There were so many that were marching on the field while they were sick, running fever, having strep, having the flu. And it's just astonishing if you go back and watch some of these videos, knowing how sick some of these kids were, and they still pushed through. And that's just an example of what really amazed me this year. Hopefully we'll never have another year like the great band flu of 22 year, but it really has shown us how amazing band kids are. And I just wanted to give a shout out to all of them and to you moms and dads too for pushing through such a difficult season and succeeding where really and truly it should not have been possible. I hope everyone has had a wonderful holiday season, and I hope everyone has an extremely healthy 2023. And be sure and join me next year for another Mama Minute.
I mean, you can't just not smile. You just can't not.
I know.
Both of us are looking at each other just like the entire time, like she's just perfect. She's just perfection.
And you know what? One of the things that I thought of, like right as she was finishing speaking, and I've never thought about this before, and all this time that we've gotten to know Cindy, is like I want her to be on my bus, you know, right?
Yes.
Don't you want her on your bus? Like,
Yes,
you don't want the other lady that yells at everybody, right? You
Right.
want Cindy on your bus, right?
Right. Yeah, you want to arrive to that show like feeling that feel. Like, oh my God, that mama just made me feel, and but I mean, she does that. She goes to all the shows and takes the pictures and puts them up on her Instagram and like it just contributes to it in such a way. But she's got fans of her own that show up like with t-shirts, you know, honoring her and stuff. So like, hopefully people that are listening out there start showing up with Mama Minute t-shirts, because she would freak out, I think. Like, she's just
so genuine. So
genuine is beyond. Genuine is beyond.
Yeah, and everything she says and everything that she shares is just so sincere, and I think that's wonderful. And you know, we have and she serves as a voice for a lot of people who, you know, and we all know some folks who have been band parents for far longer than anyone ever expected them to be, just because they're that dedicated to the program and they care that much about the, you know, whatever program they're associated with.
She lives in Arkansas now. Like, she actually lives in Arkansas, but she is like Texas band mom. She's everyone's band mom. And like, you should go and follow Cindy Barrett, whether you're a student, whether you're a band parent, whether you're a director, whether whatever you are, you should go and follow her, because it is just joy and happiness and love and inspiration all the time from her. It is just beautiful.
Right. It's really great. And again, she gives a voice to people who typically don't want a whole lot of acknowledgement sometimes. You know, some of these folks, they just like to be behind the scenes and doing the thing, but she gives them a voice. And I think that's a wonderful thing. And it makes us think and remember, you know, how important these people are, you know, all the parents behind the scenes and all the things that they do.
That you cannot do it without them.
Yes.
But Cindy is the first one to say, you could not do it without us, but you should do it. Like, you know, you guys are the ones in charge, but you can't do it without us. So it's like a very good marriage that she's got there. Well, moving on to another one of our amazing hosts, again, marched everywhere, been everywhere, taught everywhere, is the color guard director down in Round Rock in Texas, Whitney Stone. She is just, again, another amazing person who just loves this activity so much, and like literally said to me, she's like, I love listening to podcasts all the time. Yes, I want to do this. Can I do this? So like, I was like, absolutely. Whitney, of course. Like, you know, everywhere that she's marched, Pride, she taught Origin, she's with Crown. I don't even know them all. Like, I'm beyond butchering her resume, but so let's hear what Whitney wanted to say as her gush and goes for 2022.
This is Whitney Stone. I just would like to say that 2022 was a great year. It was great to see drum corps back in full swing competitively again. WGI was a great experience to be back in the UD Arena and just feel that magic that is created by being at WGI with all those people. I am really looking forward to 2023. I am taking my color guard to WGI from Texas. I'm excited for another season of competitive DCI. And I'm just really hopeful that more corps are not going to have to take a year off. Really sad that SCV is having to do that, and potentially some other corps may have to do that as well. But really hopeful that the DCI community and DCI can help support the corps that are struggling right now. I'm excited to go back to BOA Grand Nationals with our marching band. I'm excited to potentially do some more judging this year. And I'm excited for this podcast and excited to see who else we get to speak to and learn from, and just generally get to share our love and knowledge with our community, and hopefully bring in some new people and get a larger audience and broaden the horizons a little bit more.
On a Water Break is teaming up with Style Plus, Guard Closet, and Marching Arts Education to do some great giveaways this winter. The first is 2 $500 scholarships to 2 performers in an independent percussion, winds, or color guard competing in WGI this winter. That's right, 1 for a guard person and 1 for a winds or percussion individual. If that's not amazing enough, we will also be awarding to 2 groups a set of 20 Style Plus performance tops or a set of 20 unitards. 1 set of unitards for the winning color guard and 1 set of performance tops to a winds or percussion group. Check out more information about this opportunity on our website at onawaterbreak.com. Everyone that registers will receive a free month of service from Marching Arts Education and all their amazing educational offerings. The winners will also be invited to be panelists on our podcast throughout the winter season. You'll tell us about your experiences as a performer and your insights into what's happening in the marching arts. Again, check out our website at onawaterbreak.com for information about applying for these opportunities.
Whitney, she's that color guard director. Do you know what I mean? Like, she just gets in there and just is like, this is how you do it. This is the way you need to be done. Like, go, do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I love.
You know what really stood out to me when she was talking about the venue and the magic of the venue. And, you know, I know that we tried so hard during the pandemic to replicate experiences through virtual and video. And I'm telling you, it just, I appreciated it. I embraced it, but it just was never the same. And the magic of the venue. And let me tell you, like, it makes me think of, you know, we took our daughter to DCI East for the very first time this year. Okay. She said she wanted to go and she loved every second of it. And it was all about the venue.
Yeah,
you know?
Well, it's that collective experience, right? And like, that's the thing is you talk about, I know people talk about this in terms of social media now, that we used to have a joined reality and then our phones and social media sort of took over. And now we have an individual reality that is often shared with the group every once in a while. I mean, those types of events, a marching band event or, you know, a concert or those things, if you are engaged. Now, I mean, concerts tend to be a little bit more like, oh, I'm holding my phone up and recording it. You're more concerned about what's on your phone. I mean, marching band shows, not every single person in the stands is holding up their phone recording the show, right? Because you'll get in trouble, right? So I mean, I think that's like kind of a good way to say it too, is that the collective people really is the energy that makes the activity what it even is. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And when you go back to a venue where you've been many times for different experiences, then the memories of those experiences come back to you, and you think of the people you were with, or you know what happened.
It's that experience like we talked about before. It has way more to do with like the experience than it does the competition. And I think that's what, you know, we with this podcast and those that are involved in the podcast, in this particular podcast, really want to make sure is that we are really talking about this as a whole, and it's not bogged down in competition. It's about the experience. It's about everyone's experience. The performer, the student, you know, the director, the band parent, the casual observer, everyone should be able to appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And I think this ties into what we were going to talk about, if I can say, because one of the challenges, I guess, that some corps are now experiencing, at least that we're seeing it, and I'm sure it's happening indoor too, is that the expense of doing this activity has gone so outrageous. I think because a lot of, and I will say this, and maybe this is controversial, I think a lot of designers have maybe gone too far or tried to push it too big, and you've kind of maybe alienated some audiences, and you're not bringing in the money, and you're not like seeing that sort of return on investment that you could see, you know, and you're spending like so much money and thousands of dollars on it. Electronics are great. I think they're amazing. They enhance so much, but I mean, they're expensive, right?
Yeah.
All of that kind of stuff.
And honestly, I think it really go beyond that, though, because and I've talked to many people about this. I mean, people who are very involved in the activity, people who are just casual fans. I mean, I even had a fellow teacher come up to me, and she marched in the high school band. I taught her in the high school band. Oh my goodness, I'm feeling old, right? And now she's teaching alongside of me. But she was just asking me some questions. She's like, "Hey, I've been hearing some stuff, and what's going on?" And, her husband was in the high school band also. So they were just curious. And I said, well, guys, look, to me, my perspective is that it's not a lot of what's happening financially is not what you see on the field.
Definitely.
A lot of what's happening financially is what is behind the scenes. The insurance, the liability, the fuel cost, the transportation, the housing costs, all that kind of stuff. And that issue has been growing for years and years and years. And it takes
the higher demands of the directors want better fields, want better facilities, you can't just rehearse at Podunk High School anymore, because you have to have a feel for the color guard. You have to have a feel for the drum line. You have to have a feel for the horn line. Like you have to have a turf for all of them. Like that's, you can get that now, but that's all money.
Well, and again, and the young people who are paying their money to be part of these organizations deserve to be treated, in a way that they are, their health and safety and well-being is being taken care of as well. Are they being fed properly? Are they being given adequate places to sleep? All that kind of stuff are they being given safe rehearsal, facilities? That's extremely important.
Oh, it's definitely extremely important.
Right.
It's definitely extremely important. I mean, and I will say, we can, sort of move on from this is that, if you appeal to a mass, I know. If you appeal to a mass audience, you get mass people to come and watch. And that mass people gives you money and gives you the things, you can get there. Anyway, moving on to somebody of drum
We'll solve that problem another day, right?
Yeah. We're not here to solve the world's problems. We are here to produce a lovely little podcast that is happy and joyous and wonderful. So let's move on from that. So another great addition who came through Whitney, of course, connector of all, is the amazing Trevor Bailey. He goes on. I will not have to introduce kind of what he does, because his gush and goes are kind of about where he is right now, and I really appreciate that. So Trevor wanted to be in a couple of episodes towards the end of the season, and got caught up in a couple of things. The craziness of the end of a marching band teaching college band, I imagine, is a big part of it. That this beginning of December craziness. So here, take it away, Trevor, and give us your 2022.
Hello. This is Trevor Bailey, and this is my 2022 year in review. I have a few things to talk to you about. The first one, I was able to find my way back to drum corps after taking about 8 years off from teaching. The Mandarins Drum and Bugle Corps, located out of Sacramento, California, came a-calling, and I picked up the phone. Had a wonderful experience teaching on their brass staff, working with some amazing colleagues. The students were great. Administrative team has everything figured out. Design team is absolutely stellar. And we had a very successful season, scoring the highest score in corps history. And we hope to take that momentum into the 2023 drum corps season, where the Mandarins will be celebrating their 60th anniversary. So super exciting there. Auditions are going great. Amazing talent and a great production in store for drum corps fans in 2023. The second thing, as you all know, I serve as Assistant Director of Athletic Bands here at Western Carolina University. We had an amazing season, great community support. it was announced that the Pride of the Mountains Marching Band will be marching in the St. Patrick's Day Parade in March of 2024. So we're starting to fundraise and get the message out about Pride of the Mountains representing our community on the international stage. This will be the first time that the Pride of the Mountains Marching Band has performed on the international stage. Our season culminated with us performing our 2022 production, Let It Burn, at the Bands of America Grand National Championships in Indianapolis, Indiana. We all know Bands of America Nationals is the culmination of hard work and dedication of so many high school marching bands, some of the best in the country. And we were really proud to be an exhibition band for that competition. And lastly, I joined the podcast. You may have heard of it. It's called On a Water Break. A combination of great marching arts educators have decided to come together and talk about the marching arts world and why it's so important and why it's so great. And this has been an amazing journey that I've decided to be a part of. And I look forward to being more involved in 2023 and beyond. So that's my year in review for 2022. I hope that everyone is well. Happy holidays. Take care of yourselves. And here's to a great 2023.
Yeah, that's definitely some great news for Western Carolina. I mean, I think what's cool about their program is it's a really awesome program, but not a whole lot of people maybe outside the marching community really know about them very much.
Yeah.
And, they're kind of like this hidden gem. And, several years ago, I had the opportunity to meet some folks from Western Carolina when I was working with the Army All-American Marching Band. And, they're really great people and, a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of really, great things happening there at Western Carolina. So that's really exciting to know that, they're taking a new step in their program and, and embarking on international travel. I mean, we know that's no small feat.
Yeah, no small feat, international travel, especially with the university, because that stuff can get crazy. That stuff can get crazy. You don't want to hear the stories of Westchester University just going on an overnight in like Kutztown. Like, I couldn't imagine going to Ireland. Like, I don't know.
I know. I mean, I've been...
if you have not done university marching band, you are missing out. If you do not do your band in college, you are missing out. That is like one of the best marching experiences, hands down, no doubt about it, everywhere.
Yep. My absolute favorite of all my marching experiences, definitely. So, yeah, I mean, that's really exciting for them. I think it's cool that, Trevor's excited about being involved in drum corps again and getting back into that, and I think it's a great example of, how sometimes you may need to step away from something for a while and maybe focus on something else a little bit more, but it's always going to be there if you want to get back to it. And I think some folks get worried sometimes, like if they do have to step away from something for whatever reasons, or they don't allow themselves to step away when they might
when you need to.
Yes. And it's always going to be there, and there's always going to be a place for you to hop back in at some point. So I think that's really positive that Trevor brought that up too. And hopefully, people that are listening that maybe are in a tough spot and say, oh, I really need to prioritize,
my family, my life, myself, my mental health, whatever it is.
Our full-time job or whatever it is for the next year or two. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to step back into another role. I mean, that's really good thing to point out and allow people to think about, so it's
Yeah. Well, I do want to say, it was, again, speaking about taking care of yourself, one of our hosts, Justin, amazing guy I met through Jackie, did several of our advice shows, and his mother recently passed away, so he wasn't able to be a part of the recap show, but he's definitely looking forward to being a part in the future, and we just want to send our thoughts to him and his family. So we want to say that we are thinking about you, Justin, and we'll get your recap in the new year. So don't even worry about it. We'll make sure.
We'll definitely look forward to hearing from him that when he returns. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, speaking of our amazing lead hostess, I guess with the mostess, Miss Jackie, I mean, there's nothing like Christine and I have certainly got to know Jackie over this past year pretty well. Like now that she's officially joined the Guard Closet team, for many of you who do not know, she is behind the scenes working with Guard Closet, as well as, you know, in front, you know, hosting this podcast or, you know, doing her own thing with Spintronics. She's taken on a new role as a mom, and that's like changing her entire existence. Like, it is giving her new perspective on absolutely everything that she has done. She is, you know, always the consummate professional, but always a complete wackadoo at the same time. Like, you just can't, like, you know, like.
Yeah, she's definitely a fun personality. And I'm so glad that she has joined our team. I mean, you know, for a long time, the Guard Closet team was extremely small. And it was fine. It was fine. And, you know, we did some great things. But it's very exciting now that we've expanded the team and we've, you know, brought in, you know, more people to, you know, grow Guard Closet beyond what it originally was. And, you know, it has a wonderful foundation, and I will never deny that it has a wonderful foundation.
And if you go to our YouTube channel, you can hear the history that Christine did with the founder, Brian. It's a great little story. So anyway.
Brian and I even went to the original locations.
Yeah.
You knew where they were. But I mean, you know, it just is, it validates, you know, what we are doing as a company.
Yeah.
And, you know, it says a lot about, you know, where Guard Closet, how Guard Closet has grown in the past 20 years.
Yeah.
And like this big leap forward that it's taken, you know, just in the past, you know, 2.5 to 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, you have to give a big shout out to all of the brand managers and everybody at Guard Closet, all the Chris's and all the Michaels, and all the Carloses. Like, I mean, we've got 600 Chris's.
Does it take to run a Guard Closet?
I know, several, multiple Chris's it takes. So super excited to have all of them. And definitely, Jackie is like I mean, during the busy time in August and September, it was like, Jackie. I just, you know, she was truly amazing. So
the phones are blowing up. Yeah.
Well, take it away, Jackie, on our 2022 Your Gush and Go.
My gush and go for the end of 2022 has got to be this podcast, because it has brought me so much joy and inspiration every single week in an area of the world where I didn't know that I was going to be able to have that for a very long time. I have watched a lot of independent guards over the years who have grown and been successful and won awards and created wonderful performers and contributed to the activity so much, just completely fold when their director has a baby. And every single year I've been like, oh man, I don't ever want to let that happen to our program, because I've been running an independent guard for 12 years myself. So when I did have a baby and I did the whole guard director and mom thing at the same time last year, it was a huge, huge undertaking that I was not ready for. And I think that, you know, understanding that now and seeing that, I actually kind of came off of it with this idea of, okay, well, I'm going to not be able to participate fully in the marching arts again until my kid is grown and off to college. So being able to take part in this podcast, meet these incredible people that I have met. And let me tell you, being on this panel with all of these wonderful, wonderful marching arts authorities is just amazing. It's been so wonderful this year. And I cannot wait to keep doing it next year, because, you know, being able to be connected still and also be able to stay home and raise my son has just been an utter dream come true. And I cannot gush enough about this whole experience, because that's just what it's meant to be.
Yeah, she's a proud mom. And I mean, you know, we're parents.
Yes.
We know, you know, our kid is it, man, you know, and I think that's, you know, that's an important thing too. Like we were talking about, like with Trevor, you know, and what he was saying about, you know, it's and he was able to come back to drum corps after a while. And, sometimes you do have to pivot a little bit, and you have to take a little bit of a different route sometimes. I mean, I had to make the decision, when my daughter was really little, it's like, okay, it's time for me to not be gone every Tuesday and Thursday night anymore. Yeah. And I've got to pull that back a little bit. Yeah. And, even with being out judging and stuff, my husband
go listen to the Women in Band episode, because, Julie talking about like having to breastfeed and worrying about a drum, you're not going to want me to do this,
Right. Well, and it also it goes beyond that, and I share this with a lot of people. I say, look, you're never going to get some of those moments back with your child,
right?
Ever,
right?
You're not going to get them back, and it will be there. Whatever you want to do, teaching will still be there, adjudicating will still be there, writing, designing, whatever you want to do will still be there. Absolutely. And you can still be involved, but you cannot miss that time with your child.
No.
You cannot.
No.
And I regret sometimes, some of the choices that I made when she was really little. And I wish that I had that time back, and I don't. And I still scaled back, but sometimes I wish I would have scaled back even more.
Sure. And we all will retrospectively think that way, right? Like we will always think that we should have done more, but all we can do is what we know to do in the present, right? And the beautiful thing about our activity, the marching arts, is that kids are everywhere. I mean, Oliver has to go to Widener rehearsal every Friday because he's a part of the band. He says he's a bander. Like that's what he is, and that's what he does. And the band director there, who's the front ensemble coordinator for Boston Crusaders, is the band director there. He has 2 kids. They come to, there's pictures of the 3 of them playing on the, the floor cart to like move props and stuff. So like, you could also bring them, you know what I mean? Like it just may be a little bit of a finagle, and you may have to like ditch out of rehearsal for a little bit, go pick them up, bring them back to the show, or whatever you have to do. Like
there's definitely a balance, and I think that's a fun thing for kids too, is to be able to be involved and see something like that, and have relationships too. I mean, how the students always go crazy for the little kids. And
I want to watch him. You instantaneously get like 15 babysitters, or like what, like however many you need.
I mean, I was chief judging a show once, and I didn't even know where my daughter was at one point because I'm running a meeting, and all of a sudden the daughter of one of the other judges just took her. I mean,
like,
I looked around and I said, where is she? And she goes, I got it. Don't worry about it.
Fine,
okay, see you later.
And they always are. You leave them with a marching band person, you're good to go. So I know Jackie.
So there's definitely a balance.
Yeah. Well, I know she had to pivot, off of being all she used to do all this choreography. She used to write all these shows, all these things used to happen, and she had to pivot a little bit. And so I'm glad that this has provided for her another outlet to explore the marching arts. We are very glad that we have been able to provide this outlet for everybody that's been listening and everybody that will start to listen. If you haven't listened, if this is maybe your first episode listening, this was a great introduction to all of our hosts. They all are amazing. They have such a background. You should really go and check them out and all of their socials. We tend to tag them in all of our social media posts. So if you're looking for somebody, go to Guard Closet social media post to find a lot of the hosts. If you're looking for somebody, a lot of our guests that we've had already on the pod, Julie, Dr. Knops, Tim Hinton was our first guest. Love him. He's amazing. There's some great people coming up in the next couple of episodes that we have coming out. So super duper duper exciting.
There's some folks that we've talked to along the way too that we just have to line up the schedule.
Yeah. There are people itching to come on. Like I want to come on. I want to do it. I'll do it. But that's amazing. One thing we do want to mention before we go, because this was a whole show of Gush and Goes, and again, assistant producer Christine says, we need to do Gush and Goes for anybody. So if you are anybody out there and you want to ever gush and go on about literally anything having to do with the marching arts, it could be about your kid. You could be about your show. It could be about the parade. It could be about your education. It could literally be about anything that you want that as it relates to the marching arts. We want to shout you out. We want to shout whoever you want to shout out. That's what we want this show to be.
Yeah. And I think I want to add to that is the fact that it can be as specific or as general as you'd like it to be. If you're comfortable with saying, exactly who you are and who your team is and where you're located and all that stuff, that's great. If you want to tell us exactly what high school you're from and a whole deal and what's going on with you guys,
I don't need your address. I don't need your street address.
But you know what I'm saying. Like,
if you send in a Gush and Go, maybe you'll get a prize. Maybe we'll send you something in the mail. We've got swag here at Guard Closet.
Yeah, we do.
Water break. Yeah, we've got swag. Sure. We could definitely do that for you.
Right. But if you're somebody that just wants to share something and you want to be a little bit more general and say, maybe just your first name and what state you're from or something. And if you just want to say something general like, hey, my Guard has 15 more kids in it this year than it did last year, and I'm really excited about that. Share that with us. And I think lots of people just want to hear those types of things. It's inspiring for other people. It's what we like to know about what's happening, and it's just that good news that everybody wants to hear. And that's what we want to promote on the podcast too, is all the great things that are happening on so many levels.
Yeah. So if you have a Gush and Go, if you have any questions you want to ask our panelists for advice, all you need to do is send us an email to onawaterbreak@guardcloset.com and you'll be on a future show. So thank you, Christine, for joining on the wrap up of 2022.
Hey, thank you. This is fun. I'm glad that we have started this project. It's been an exciting thing.
Yes.
Another kind of added layer on top of what Guard Closet does.
Yes.
And, we're not just some website.
Yeah, we're people. We're people too.
I mean, I think that's really a great thing that we've branched out and we're reaching people in a different way. So it's exciting.
Well, listen, thanks for another great episode. We hope that you found your time with us. We're worthwhile. Thanks to all of our hosts for this season. Thanks to all of our guests. I mean, we're just getting started. This is only episode 7, I believe. So tell a friend, share a link on social media, get the word out. Don't forget about our scholarship and uniform giveaway. We are soon going to be wrapping that up. So everybody, good luck. Have a great holiday. Have a great New Year's. See you in the New Year's. We're gearing up for Winter Guard season. Everyone's excited. Going to parades, the Rose Bowl parade, all the bowl parades, all the bowl performances. A lot of those marching bands go down for those like bowl performances and perform their half times and just like moving a cart around. So anyway, we could go on forever. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.